What prompted you? Because researching on primary sources is very difficult, time consuming, and all that. Usually people go to secondary sources and get the material. So, what prompted you to go for this?
It's very fatiguing, yes.
Mm.
But what prompted me was that my attempts to understand my country's past. I have always, with my previous books, I have always sought my information uh, without, by trying to uh, open the curtains that have been placed between us and whole generations of British scholars
Okay.
who, while pretending to open, very often also misled us.
Mm. Mm.
And that is why, while their contributions were good, I mean, I'm not being sort of prejudiced against them, but we have to go back to translations from the Persian, from the Sanskrit,
Mm.
from the official records. And I've always believed that there is a text must be accompanied by context, in
Okay.
which it was said,
Mm.
it was the time. Second, this actually, the emergence of these books comes from what would be my normal reading. As I read, for example, Akbarnama, Tuzuk-e Jahangir, all of these you'll find even in the small library of mine. As I read them, I kept getting information of their continued commitment to astrology. It's all over the place. The first volume of Akbarnama, we're talking about the Harvard edition, which has just been done by Thaxton Wheeler. And it has been produced by one of the, I think, great efforts by an Indian source, which is the Murthy Classical Foundation, which has funded it.
Yeah.
Very good work has been done, I must say. My congratulations to Narayan Murthy's family. Not just Akbarnama, all the classics are there, easily available. And as I read them, I kept reading the first volume of this Harvard edition. 80% of it is a discussion about Akbar's horoscope.
Okay.
And disputes between this school of astrology and that school of astrology, and the minute detail into which it went. And that said, what is the mindset that makes them so committed? Why do they believe in it so implicitly? The stories are absolutely fascinating. And the reason for that is because they accepted that their culture goes back far beyond in time to their religion. They were all practicing Muslims, no doubt about that.
Yes.
Absolutely practicing Muslims. But they also recognize the parallel reality of language, of their cultural upbringing, of their past. And this shaped their view system. For example, not just them. They claimed ancestry also from Amir Temur on the paternal side and Chaghez Khan on the maternal side. And they said Amir Temur had astrologers because he also belonged to the Central Asian culture and to the Central Asian philosophy. So this was really, and once you started putting the pieces together, you found that enough instances of cultural assimilation, and that opened up doors as to why they became acceptable. This led not only to assimilation, but this led to their respect for other faiths.
One can understand that in the case of the first five great Mughals. But in the case of Aurangzeb, who is supposed to be a fiend of faith, so-called, and all that, so how could, in his case, that reconcile with his faith on the one side, in religion, and his dogmatic following of his practice, the religious practices, and belief in astrology?
Absolutely, very valid question. And in fact, Aurangzeb's contradictions and Aurangzeb's dualism and Aurangzeb abandoning the inheritance of this multicultural court led to the collapse of the empire.
Exactly.
His bigotry destroyed the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire was, you were very interesting. The Mughal Empire collapsed not because it was defeated badly
No.
in the battlefield.
Yes.
It collapsed because its internal coherence and internal cohesion and its internal value system was completely destroyed by the bigot
Mm.
in Aurangzeb.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
And even Aurangzeb, very interesting. Actually, the title comes from Aurangzeb.
Yeah. After me, chaos.
After
yeah.
me, chaos.
But originally, after me, deluge.
That is, I'm
French.
very happy that you mentioned this
The
because it's
French.
completely wrong.
Oh, I see.
Completely wrong.
Not Louis XIV.
Mr. Louis XIV,
Yeah.
Mr. King Louis
Yeah.
XIV, whoever he
Yes,
was,
Mr.
right? He said this 80 years after Aurangzeb.
Oh my goodness.
Aurangzeb said this when he was 80 years old, which is 1690s.
Oh, Aurangzeb said this.
Yes.
I thought you improvised
No,
it.
no,
Okay.
Aurangzeb said this. And I'll tell you the story.
Please.
See, Aurangzeb also, despite, and he used to hide his commitment to astrology because, he thought that the orthodox mullahs, orthodox clergy, would be upset, right? And he posed himself as a very orthodox and ultra, man of the faith. But even he, when it came to his own coronation, right, went to astrologers to find out the right time. He crowned himself twice. Once after defeating Darashikoh,
yes.
and then after defeating Shashuja.
I know that. Yeah.
Right. And both times, the astrologers told him the right time. Second time, they made him wait for almost 2-3 months.
Okay.
And this Aurangzeb, now, when he's 80 years old, to come to the point of the title, when he's 80 years old, he had 4 sons, one of whom became a rebel and went off to Persia. And then all 3 he kept in jail for various amounts of time. And so his eldest son, who became Bahadur Shah, when he was 80, he lived till 90.
Yes.
He released him from prison, and then he said that, look, among all my sons, I think you probably will be the inheritor because you have the best qualities. And then he started saying, he said, let me tell you something that I have not mentioned. And this whole translation has been done by that scholar, Sir Jadunath Sarkar. From the Farsi, from the original Farsi has been done. It's there. These books are all here. The originals are all here in my library. So, and then he says that, I must tell you that I was the 3rd son. I had no chance of becoming ruler conventionally, because my eldest brother Darashikoh, he was my father's favorite.
Yes.
Then, if something had happened to him, my elder brother Shashuja, who ruled Bengal, by the way, for 23 years, very successfully, and his favorite astrologer was a Bengali called Balbhandro.
Okay.
And he says, then he would have taken over. Who was I? But from the very beginning, I knew that I would become emperor. You know why? Because the horoscope written at my birth said that I would inherit the crown.
The Raja Yoga, as we say. Yes.
And he says, in 80 years, every single incident of my life has been predicted by that horoscope. And he said, now let me tell you the bad news. Today the empire is from Tajikistan, which is Badakhshan, is next to Tajikistan. Yes. From there, right up to half of Kerala.
Yes.
And he says, this is how big the empire is, Afghanistan to the east. He says, what I will tell you next will startle you. This mighty empire will crumble within 2 or 3 years after my death, because that is also written in the horoscope. So it was an astrologer who predicted everything, including the collapse of empire. And therefore he said, in the original is in Persian, that after me, chaos.
Okay. So what I was asking about, at the same time, would the ulema would have objected because so how could he reconcile that in his case?
Yes, he sort of kept it. He didn't make it public. All the others
for them
it is normal.
yes.
They had an opinion, but he actually he had a Muslim astrologer. By the way, there were many Muslim astrologers.
Yes.
And but for 100 years, more than 100 years before Aurangzeb, the Jyotish Raja,
Yes.
the lord of the astrologers, an official position in the Mughal court, was held by a Brahmin from Banaras. And that was a tradition.
Oh.
Their names are all recorded in the original sources. And, I can give you Akbar's Jyotik Rai was Neelkant. Jahangir had Chintamani and Kesava Sarma. Shah Jahan had Paramananda and Malachi. His son Shah Shuja, who ruled Bengal, had a Bengali called Balabhodro. Right? These Jyotik Rais, they traveled with the emperor.
With the emperor.
Every morning, the first meeting of the day, 2 astrologers would at least be there to determine whether it was auspicious to meet X or Y or Z, and at what time.
You mentioned that in the case of Humayun, when he was meeting with the emperor of Iran, the Persian emperor.
Yes, absolutely. What time? Quite right.
Yes.
But Humayun, his astrologer was a fascinating story, which is the book begins by.
Yes.
His astrologer was actually a Muslim, Maulana Chand. Now, he was given shelter by the Rana of Umarkot, not out of total generosity, but Rana of Umarkot wanted mercenaries in order to fight the Thatta, ruler of Thatta. And by the way, in 1542, by which time the Mughal Empire was finished.
Yes.
After 14 years, it didn't have money to eat.
Yes.
They were in exile, pursued not only by Shesha in Delhi, but pursued by his brothers in Kabul.
Kamran.
Yes. Absolutely. And there was no hope whatsoever of this family. Now, when his wife Hamida Banu was there, and when he entered Umarkot, he was very thankful because she was very heavily pregnant at that time. And birth was due any day. But he was ordered to go, so he left to fight. He left only one man behind, Maulana Chand. Why? To record the exact second of birth, so that there would be no confusion about the horoscope that would be written about it. Why? Because he believed that this was a child who was very auspicious, who was going to come, and for a variety of reasons. I suppose every father believes it, particularly a father in despair, but he also had other reasons. He had a dream and so on. Now, about 2 or 3 days after he left, news came that labor pains had started. Maulana Chand heard it and he went mad. He says, no, he went frantic. He says, no, the child cannot be born now. So the women started laughing. He says, old man, when nature starts its course, who are you? He started screaming. He says, no, after 5 hours or something like that, there will come a moment which comes only once in 1,000 years. And a child born at that moment will be the Chakravarti, will be the great emperor. Even if he is born before that, he will not become. So they started laughing and told him to get out of the way. And then he did something astonishing. The full story is in Abul Fazl's Akbar now. And there was not a very good looking woman sitting there. Must have been one of the attendants.
Or midwives. They were all hideous.
And he just caught her by the scruff of her neck. Out of the blue, I think, in a moment. And rushed to the side of the bed, thrust her face across the curtains. Right? Or the parda, under which she was lying in bed. Just thrust her face into the face of the expecting mother, Hamida Banu. Hamida Banu got so shocked that the labor pain stopped. So it stopped. Then he began to worry that the moment.
Yes.
But Akbar was born at exactly that
moment.
moment of
That
astrological significance.
not just as God willed, but also as Chand willed.
So this was the kind of belief.
Mm.
Humayun was an astrologer
Yes.
himself.
Himself, yes.
Every day he wore his clothes according to the color of
Colour.
the zodiac. He did nothing, and I've said that astrology has one thing which is difficult, that if it is not backed up by evidence, you will not believe
Yes,
it.
believe it. Yes.
Somebody comes and makes a prediction,
Yeah.
and then you find it
Yes,
false, then
yes,
you'll say this
yes.
astrologer is a bogus guy.
But there is one question because sorry, please complete.
Because it's interesting. Humayun predicted his own death.
I was coming to that. Yes,
Okay.
so you can answer that.
Yeah. He predicted his own
Yes,
death.
yes.
And how do we know? Because it's right there in his Humayun Nama. He says his every day his weakness, he used to eat opium.
Yes.
Every morning, pellets of opium
Yes.
would be there, a part of his. And one day he told his servant who was putting out for the month, he says, no, you keep it only for 7 days. I won't need it on the 8th day. And after the 7th day, that morning, after consuming it, he said that this afternoon or today, a great injury will happen to a great person. That evening, he was well.
That in
Staircase.
the Puranakila, that round building, he round that spiral staircase. Yes.
And he had gone up to see the stars.
Yes. And he heard the prayer call.
Yeah.
And he was running down the
He was
stairs.
scaling down.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? His foot caught in his robe.
Or the gown. Whichever.
Robe.
Yeah, this is what I heard.
Yeah. And he slipped.
I wrote somewhere, body in the library. It was a library building.
It was his library. They used to have, talking of libraries, Jahangir writes in Tuzuke Jahangir that after finally, his father died at 65 after 50 years. So it was a long wait. And he says he finally had access to his father's library. And he went there and he started looking. And the first book he took out and read was the Ramayana.
Oh, okay.
This is part of cultural, They Akbar respected all faiths. He wore a tilak. There's nothing, they respected other languages. I mean, this whole notion that Islam is trapped in one language. Our Quran came in one language. But the Quran itself says that the message, I have sent the message in every language. So why can't the message be sent in other languages? And surely God is available to anyone of any kind of language. Muslims in Kerala speak Malayalam.
Yeah.
Right? And that is their language, their culture.
Yes.
This assertion of culture is very important in the culture of integration. Because culture is much older
than religion.
Everyone's, yours or mine. Right? Or most religions can be defined to a particular date.
Yes, exactly.
But culture comes from eons. It comes from our ancestry, which is pre-faith ancestry. And that is what the Mughals had. In the first chapter, for example, they show the great reverence that they had for, Tengri Shaman. For them, God was also Tengri. That is just as for Persians, God was Khuda.
Khuda, yes.
Khuda is not an Arabic.
Not Arabic.
And they had for a goddess Alankua deep reverence because she's the ancestral goddess of that time.
So now going back, you mentioned the ancestry of the Mughals. I mean, you traced it to Genghis and
by the way, the ancestry, they have actually given the bloodline.
Yeah. So there is a story. I mean, I read about elsewhere that Genghis. Why didn't he invade India? I mean, conquered the entire Eurasian continent and overran the entire. The landmass, as we call it. But he spared India.
He didn't.
Uh,
That's totally wrong.
then
He came up to the Indus himself.
Indus, yes.
But his armies entered India. 3 invasions. All 3 were defeated.
By Iltutmish.
By the Khaljis.
Oh, okay.
All 3 were defeated. One in Panipat, one nearer Delhi. Right? In one case, they actually moved ahead to prevent the traditional siege.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So instead of the siege denying the defenders of the fortress food and supplies, they surrounded thrice.
Okay. So regarding Babar, the first one and the conqueror, his death is very interesting.
Yes.
Humayun, he in fact offered his life in place of Humayun. So can you tell us that?
Yes.
That also is.
Babar was very young when he died.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was very fond of Humayun. In fact, when he, the story of Kohinoor, or that diamond, which later may have been Kohinoor, maybe not, but they said that this
Babar's diamond.
The Babar's diamond. When he was there, he took it from Agra. So, because he conquered, he had one in Panipat, then he moved to Agra, then he moved to Agra, and Humayun was sent ahead.
Yeah.
And Humayun went and got the treasury of the previous dynasty, Lodhis.
Yeah.
He took charge, and of course he had to give everything to the emperor.
Yes.
But he held back this diamond. He says, "Give it to me." And of course he offered it, but Babar could see that he wanted it so much. He said, "You keep it." This diamond saved the empire because he used to wear it around his neck. That was the only thing that he had left in 1542.
Okay.
Everything else was gone. He would not sell or bargain or give away this diamond. He kept it for one thing. And what was that? This is all for the... Eventually, after long negotiations, when the Persians decided to refinance an army or finance his army for the reconquest of Afghanistan, which became the basis later for his coming to Delhi. And they gave him an army of 15 or 20,000 people. In return for that army, he gave that diamond to Shah Tamas. Because Shah Tamas had wanted something. And they said, of course, there was some exaggeration, that this diamond is worth the wealth of 2.5 times the wealth of this or that. But this diamond went there. And then it went into the Persian treasury. Then it went into the Durrani with the Afghans. After the Safavids, the Afghans took Persia. They brought it here. And then through the Afghans, it came back with Maharaja Ranjit Singh. From Afghanistan.
From Afghanistan, yes. Shah Jahan, because one thing in popular imagination, he was the greatest in the sense wealth, beauty, magnificence, and all that. Whereas in history, Akbar is the greatest. But Shah Jahan, can you tell some stories about Shah Jahan?
Shah Jahan was
his astrology.
Shah Jahan continued this faith. The same practices continued. With Shah Jahan, there was but actually we mention of Shah Jahan's children because Jahangir was still alive when Shah Jahan's children were born. And it's very interesting. On 29th March 1615, there was an eclipse, which obviously you saw as an ominous sign. And Darashiko, Shah Jahan's son, was born next day. So Jahangir writes, this is not a good omen for that. 3 years later, Aurangzeb is born. And although another son is born in the middle, but he's normal. In 20th October 1618, Jahangir saw a great comet in the sky. And he writes that this is extremely bad news, according to his astrologers. And Aurangzeb was born next.
I see.
And he says that the conflict between these two boys will destroy
that.
I mean, it doesn't say it specifically, but this is what is implied.
Okay.
And Aurangzeb's, his practices, his justice, his courts, and his every single thing is there. There's a very famous Brahmin's village when Shah Jahan was out hunting, and he went to rest. He had gone ahead of his group. Dangerous for the emperor to do.
Yes.
But he had gone ahead, and he sat under a tree waiting for the others. And while he was sitting under the tree, sitting without any regalia, he was feeling thirsty. And he saw a man with water and in a water pitcher. So he asked for some water. So that man with water came, gave him some water. But on top of the vessel, he sprinkled some leaves. And
who, the emperor? Or
no,
the waterman.
Water. Whoever was carrying that pitcher.
Yes.
And he took the water and he drank it. He was very thirsty. Then he asked him, why did you put that leaves?
Yeah.
And I think he laughingly, jokingly said, oh, this is whenever my donkeys drink. I sprinkle a few leaves on top of it. Right? So he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. Then a short while later, his followers his court, his family came
into rash.
And that man started trembling. He was a Brahmin. He started trembling. He said, I'm sorry, Your Majesty. He said, no, you gave me water. And he says, that village henceforth, he said, the revenue of this village will be with you. So it was known famously as the Brahmin's village.
Okay.
See, these people ruled by...
This waterman story reminds me of the other waterman in the Mughal history, the one who saved Humayun from
It's also true.
After the Battle of Kannauj.
The battle he lost.
Yes, where he lost. Yes. The first one he lost.
Nizam was his name.
Nizam. Okay.
The water carrier.
Yes.
He actually made him king for half a day.
Oh, yes. Ek din kar sultan.
Actually he did. And his brothers, who were appalled. The whole family was shocked. That how could he possibly? He said, you give him money. Don't fool around with the throne.
Is it true that he emptied the treasury also in that one day?
No.
Okay, but I read somewhere in some, I think, European versions of the story.
That's all rubbish. They were not even foolish. They were not such people. Now,
you have, dealt with all the 6 great emperors. By the way, I just wanted to share some trivia with you. I'm one of the few who have visited all the 6 mausoleums.
Oh, really?
Right from Akbar.
Including Aurangabad?
Of course, that's nearby. Kabul.
Okay.
Babar.
I've been there.
Okay, So now, coming towards that last question, are you thinking of a sequel on the later Mughals? There were some 15 or 16 of them.
No, and that story is very separate. And in fact, it's a very different story. And you can see how a dynasty which has no reason to survive. They don't have anything. Anything. After Bahadur Shah, then when they had Muhammad Shah. For 30 years, he used a self-defined Rangila. Right? And then after that, Shah Alam and so on. Pitiable stories.
Shah Alam, the second story is
pitiable.
Blind.
In fact, Abdul Qadir of Rampur.
Ghulam Qadir.
Ghulam Qadir of Rampur. You know this?
Saranpur.
Huh?
Saranpur.
No, I
No,
think
I
Rampur.
say Rampur. Okay.
In fact,
Rohilla chief.
Rohilla.
Yes.
In fact, this phrase "dance of death"
Hmm.
became famous because of him.
Hmm. Oh, I didn't know that.
You know
Okay.
what is the dance
No.
of death?
No.
Trevor mortis. If you behead somebody,
Hmm.
the body shivers
Yeah.
when the blood coagulates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He loved watching it.
Uh,
So they called him the man of the dance of death. He
mm.
loved the dance of death. He is the one who blinded Shah Alam.
Shah Alam. Yes. I know.
And Shah Alam was piteously crying out that what have these eyes done except read the Quran, and you come and take them away. Right? But despite that, they kept this symbol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody removed them
Yes.
until the British.
Mm,
Even
yeah.
the British kept them for 50 years.
50 years. Yes.
More than 50 years.
Yes.
That was
From
the
1803 till 1857.
1857.
Yes.
So that is the kind of, almost psychological hold that they retained.
Yes.
on the-
Yes. Especially Balshah Shah Alam as Dilli Tapalam.
Shah Alam was known that his rule
The rule was
extended from Lal Killa to Palam.
Palam. Exactly.
Which is true. Even
True.
that revenue
Yes. Yes.
was occasional.
No, but then, okay, that symbol of power is there.
That symbol of the
And
throne.
even 1857, the so-called rebels, they asked the emperor to be their head, at least titular head. They didn't observe the usual courtesies that are extended to the emperor.
No,
but
Bahadur Shah was not a leader.
not a leader at all.
As simple.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
He was not a leader.
Yes.
He could have defeated.
In fact, Eden's sister, Fanny,
Emily.
she has written, Emily has written about the pitiable condition in which he was.
He was there. Didn't have the
Yes.
resources. When you are dead, you should be buried.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. But I look forward to a book like that on the great Mughals.
Thank you. Maybe it's a thought. I know I was so fatigued.
I can understand. Yes.
So fatigued.
Yes.
At the end of it, the last thing I wanted to think of another.
Okay.
But books are also they become an internal demand. That is what drives you. What drives you?
Exactly.
I was asked. They said that what drives? See, just the effort. That if you have any conviction which is built on a misconception, if this book can help you clarify that, right? One point I would like to make. One of the great things in this history and in this book is Shivaji's letter to Aurangzeb. When Aurangzeb reimposed jizya.
Yes.
Shivaji.
Sure.
And I tell you, it is a sign of Shivaji's greatness. He writes a very long letter. The full letter is there. Right?
Okay.
And I often say it should be made compulsory reading. And Shivaji tells Aurangzeb, why are you destroying the inheritance of your great ancestors who lived together, who understood the value of respecting every faith? When Akbar did Surya Namaskar, it was not because he had become a Hindu. It was because he respected the others. We are part of when all of them, they used to call Holi Eid-e-Gulabi. It is respect. They create a common language. Right? Burkha became Chitragupt.
Yes.
Yes. That all this that has been done for centuries and more, why are you destroying it? And then he asks Aurangzeb a question which should resonate, I think, till today in every mosque, in every temple. He asks Aurangzeb that tell me where in the Quran, that wherever Allah is mentioned in the Quran, how is Allah described? As Rabbul Alameen. Rabb of the whole universe, Rabb of the Kainat, Rabb of what is called in Sanskrit Brahmakar, of the whole universe. Allah created everything. Nowhere is Allah called Rabbul Muslimin, that God of only the
Only
Muslims.
Muslims.
Therefore, God created you, sir,
Mm.
as much as He created me. Why are we fighting over God?
Mm.
Who are we to fight over
Yes.
God? Here, there are other verses I have mentioned. There is a verse in the Quran, Lakum dinakum wa ilya din. Your faith for you, my faith for me.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Let us leave the judgment to God.
God.
Let us live together as human beings, as both of us, as His creations. And that is why I ended my remarks that day. India is one nation
Yes.
because we are one people.
People. Yes.
That is the truth of our